It was one of those damp afternoons, when the sky looks like a bruise and the air smells like metal. I was standing in a cemetery on the edge of a small Midwestern town, the kind of place where people wave at each other, but also know every mistake you've ever made. My name's Jackson Cole, and back then, I was a man drowning quietly in his own money. Billionaire widower father with an empty house. I used to think grief made you quieter, but really it makes you brittle one tap and you break. I'd been visiting my late wife's grave every Sunday for 3 years, flowers tucked under my arm like a ritual. But that day, something shifted. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a little black girl in a bubblegum pink coat, rain dripping off the hood, a dented lunchbox clutched against her chest. She looked too small to be alone in a place like that. She watched me for a long time before she said real soft, "I know who killed her." I swear the world tilted. I turned heart-slamming and she just stood there, steady as a stone. "What did you say?" I asked. Her hand trembled as she opened the lunchbox. Inside was a jagged piece of orange plastic. From the car, she whispered, "The night your wife. The night she died." My knees nearly gave out. 3 years of detectives, private investigators, dead ends, and this child just handed me the missing piece. She said her name was Lila. She told me in that quiet, breathless way kids do when they've been scared too long that her mom had been driving that night. Distracted, yelling on the phone, headlights off for a second. The thud, the panic, the screaming. And then her mom's voice, cold as steel, telling her to shut up, "Don't say a word, we never saw anything." I remember crouching down so our eyes were level. "Why tell me now?" I asked. Her eyes brimmed, but she held the gaze. "Because I'm tired of nightmares. And because you look like you might believe me." I did believe her every word. Back at my townhouse, I called an old friend, Marcus Reed, a retired detective who owed me a favor. We ran Lila's story through everything we could. Different names moved towns, twice a chopped-up SUV sold under the table. The paper trail screamed cover-up. Marcus said, "Man, you realize if you go to the cops with this, they'll drag that kid through hell." He was right. And for the first time in years, I felt something crack open in my chest. Not rage, but a protective surge I couldn't explain. Weeks went by as we pieced things together. Lila stayed with me sometimes, curled up on the guest bed, clutching a stuffed rabbit missing one ear. She'd draw pictures of cars of stars of a lady with kind eyes. I'd watch her and think about how grief isn't just losing someone. It's the injustice that sticks to your skin. Finally, we found her mom, Dana Holloway, living under a new name on the South Side. I told Marcus I'd go alone. When Dana opened the door, her eyes flickered from me to Lila like she'd seen a ghost. She started to slam it, but I caught it with my palm. "We need to talk," I said. She hissed, "You don't know what you're doing." Lila stepped out from behind me and whispered, "Mama, please." Inside, the place smelled like stale coffee and desperation. Dana's hands shook as she lit a cigarette. "You think I wanted any of this?" she snapped. "He told me to drive. He told me to keep going. He, who I asked." That's when the name came out, Troy Langston. Boyfriend, part-time hustler, full-time menace. He'd been in the passenger seat that night. He'd yanked the wheel, hissed at her to flee, and then kept her under his thumb ever since. I said, "You can end it now. Confess. Let Lila breathe." Dana's eyes darted to her daughter, and for a second the mask slipped, just a tired woman who'd been scared too long. She whispered, "I'm sorry, baby," then looked at me. "I'll do it. But he's gonna come for her. For both of us." We thought turning Dana in would solve it. She confessed, got a deal to testify against Troy. But Troy vanished. Phone disconnected, car abandoned. Marcus warned me, "This guy's the kind who won't go quietly." We put Lila under temporary guardianship with me. Papers signed, child services nodding like it was routine. But nothing felt routine. Late nights at my lake cabin, I'd sit with Lila on the porch, teaching her how to skip stones. She'd lean against me and whisper, "Do you think he knows where we are?" I'd lie. No, even though I wasn't sure. Then came the first call. Static. Then a man's voice like gravel. "She's mine. Bring her back or I'll take something from you." Click. I stared at the phone until my reflection blurred. That was when the billionaire mask cracked completely. I wasn't grieving anymore. I was furious. Marcus dug deeper and found a final bombshell. Troy was Lila's biological father. No wonder he was obsessed with control. No wonder Dana had stayed quiet. But blood didn't matter to me. I'd already chosen her. The showdown came one stormy night. The cabin's motion lights flickered. I heard footsteps outside, then a pounding on the door. Lila froze, eyes wide. "Stay behind me," I told her, my voice steadier than I felt. Jackson Troy's voice snarled through the wood. "She's my kid. You're just a wallet with legs." I cracked the door open enough to see him, wet hoodie clinging to tattooed arms, eyes wild. "She's not a thing you own," I said. "Go back before you ruin what's left of your life." He laughed low and mean. "Life? You think I care about life? Bring her out or I burn this place to the ground." Marcus's unmarked SUV screeched up the driveway, then headlights slicing through rain. "Step away from the door," Marcus yelled. Troy spun, and for a second everything slowed. Lila's gasp, the thunder rolling, my heart hammering. Then officers swarmed from the tree line, pinning Troy to the gravel. Handcuffs clicked. For the first time in years, the night air felt breathable. Months later, in a sunlit courtroom, I signed the papers, making Lila officially my daughter. She wore a yellow dress with a missing button, and she smiled at me like the world was finally steady under her feet. Afterward, we visited Dana's grave. She'd died of an overdose in custody, too much shame and too little hope. Lila laid a single sunflower on the grass and whispered something only she and the wind could hear. We built a new life in a quieter town. She painted our porch sky blue, learned to ride a bike, started calling me Dad without thinking. Sometimes at night I'd wake up and hear her humming in her sleep. Healing doesn't look like a straight line. It looks like small, stubborn joys. But not everyone saw it as a happy ending. Some people said I'd stolen someone else's child. Some said Troy should have been given a second chance. Others sent letters calling me a hero. Truth is, I'm neither. I'm just a man who couldn't stand by anymore. I tell this story not because it's clean or simple, but because it's messy, like most real stories. It's about a little girl who stopped being scared long enough to speak up, and a man who stopped hiding long enough to listen. It's about choosing family instead of waiting for it to choose you. And now I want to ask you, you watching this, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have turned her over to the system or stood between her and the storm? Do you believe blood makes a parent or actions do? Drop your thoughts below, because stories like ours aren't finished when the credits roll. They keep going in every comment, every conversation. If this story moved you, hit like and share it with someone who needs a little faith in people. Subscribe to our channel for more true life stories that don't just shock, but also heal. And tell us down at the comments, what's one moment in your life where you saw justice or stood up for someone even when it cost you? Your answers might just be the next story we tell.